in the air. Anything could happen here.
Braumon Creighton, a sophomore out of Millard North. Sound familiar? Millard North? Yeah, okay, I figured it would. Matt Goodson, a junior out of Yukon, Oklahoma. There you see the team score right there, 7-0, and that's because of the major decision in that last match. Here we go.
You got to be tough if you're from Millard North.
I know, I've heard all the stories. Hey, I've been up there.
That's a rough part of town, I'm telling you.
I've watched Fred Petito's football team midweek hit game hard. I've seen you guys wrestle up there when it's just incredible. Millard North, the Mustangs.
Like I said earlier, this is one of the big matches of the night. You got the number 5 ranked wrestler against the number 6 ranked wrestler. Matt Goodson, number 5 for Central Oklahoma. Creighton, number 6 for UNO. Both of these guys are returning All-Americans. Both of them in the same weight last year. Goodson was an All-American at 126. He placed 3rd, and then Braumon was 5th at the same weight class last year. These guys have met 3 times before. This is the 4th meeting, and Goodson leads that series 2-1. Every one of their matches has gone into overtime. Is that right?
Oh, man. And the thing I was looking at, too, both lineups, it's scary for opponents but great for fans. There's a lot of returnees coming back on both these squads.
That's right. The Mavericks are real young, as well as the Broncos.
And these 2 guys will be back again. I mean, they're not done with their college wrestling career.
With these 2 programs, it doesn't matter how many guys you graduate, because there's somebody to step right in the next year and fill right in. And all you got to do is look at their records for the last 15 years. Both of these teams have constantly been in the top of their division.
Coming down to the 2-minute mark in this opening period between these pair 134-pounders, Braumon Creighton for UNO and Matt Goodson for Central Oklahoma. Mike Denny, well-known wrestling coach in the city of Omaha. He's been at UNO for many years. He's produced some great wrestlers. One of them's here with me tonight, R.J. Neby. You can just go down the list. Hildebrand, Rigatuso, Costanza. I mean, there's guys I know I'm forgetting, and I don't mean to do that, but there have been so many of them. You got to get a scorecard. And David James at Central Oklahoma, no question. That guy knows what he's doing. There's Creighton with his first move of this match by either wrestler, but they're out of bounds.
No points scored. Again, the edge has really played a key role in tonight's matchup in every match so far. Braumon Creighton thought he should have got 2 points there, but I agree with the call there by Phil Pasali. They were both out of bounds. Phil Pasali it gets tough when you're out there. I've done this. I've been in the same position he's in a few times, reffing the alma mater, and you actually end up almost being slighted the other way because you don't want people to think you're giving an advantage to your home school. So,
man, I thought Braumon maybe because he stepped it up just a few moments ago, might come back just as aggressively, but things have slowed down again. We're less than a minute to go in this opening period. No score in this particular matchup, but Central Oklahoma leads in team points 7-0 here.
Although it seems a little slow here, it's very intense if you're out there.
No doubt.
Even though there's no scoring going on, both these wrestlers, they know what each other are capable of. They're both very dangerous wrestlers. Braumon Creighton can be very explosive when he wants to. Very fast wrestler. I think about just in the last month or 2, he's really gotten used to moving up to the bigger weight class.
Well, I challenge anybody who thinks, they say, oh, you got 1 3-minute period and 2 2-minute periods. How hard can that be? Try it sometime. Just try 1 3-minute period. Just see how long you last.
There's nothing else like it. Nothing at all.
I mean, it's 100% the entire way because they've got that no stalling rule built in, so you've got to move. Creighton moving for that leg, and he couldn't quite get it. We're down to about 10 seconds to go in this opening round.
Again, like I said, this is one of the key matchups of the night. 2 of the top-ranked wrestlers meeting a little early to say this, but you never know. This type of a match could decide the national title because the winner of this match is going to make a big difference on where you get seeded when you go to the national tournament. This matchup tonight is very critical for both teams when it comes to seeding at the national tournament.
You want to talk about game faces? You just saw a pair for UNO. I mean, UNO has always had a class wrestling program, but intensity has always been there. Look at Creighton doing a good job trying to keep his opponent within the circle, but then Goodson's able to pull himself out of there.
Goodson He chose the down position here in the second period. Braumon Creighton will have his choice in the third. Goodson was a transfer from Garden City Junior College in Kansas. Only spent a semester there before transferring, getting back into his home state of Oklahoma. Both of these wrestlers were high school state champions. Braumon Creighton here in Nebraska, Goodson down in Oklahoma. Goodson last year placed third in the NCAA Division II, lost only to Lee Schickel from Pittsburgh Johnstown, the eventual champion.
Well, they've always had good wrestling, too, at Pittsburgh Johnstown.
Especially the last couple of years. In fact, last year they are the defending national champs.
Right.
They edged out Central Oklahoma last year to end Central Oklahoma's streak of 4 straight titles.
Well, I mean, then we've got a stoppage of action here.
It was a stalemate position. Apparently, the official thought that neither
Stay
wrestler
in that on top now. Here we go.
neither wrestler could improve his position, so he calls a stalemate, give him a fresh start back in the middle. Minute 30 to go here in the second period. I think that's the second caution on Braumon Creighton for a false start. You're warned twice. You get 2 cautions. If he does it again, it's a point.
Okay, explain for those who might not know, what constitutes a false start?
Anytime you jump before the referee blows the whistle, just like track and field. If you jump before the opening gun, it's a false start. You can also get a caution for your starting position. If you're out of position, if you're not in the legal position, they can also caution you for that. At this level, again, doesn't happen very often that a guy's in the wrong illegal position. They've been around long enough to know what's legal and what isn't. So usually the cautions at this level come from a false start. A guy just trying to get an edge, a jump on the whistle, and Goodson gets up to his feet. Nice lift by Braumon Creighton to bring him back down to the mat.
So Goodson gets the point for an escape. I think James wanted more than that.
Well, he thought that Braumon Creighton locked hands. There's a good look at Coach James. He thought Phil Pasali did start to signal locking hands, but then waved it off, and that's a good call by an official. I hate to see sometimes when an official will make a wrong call and he's too afraid to wave it off, where he'll make the wrong call and just let it stand rather than wave it off, which you can do in wrestling. He can wave the call off and say, no, I was wrong. I made the call too quick.
Well, Goodson leads now 1-0 on that escape, and ride time does not count at this point because we have less than a minute ride time. We're in the second period. We're under a minute, and Goodson leading Creighton 1-0 here in this 134-pound matchup between the UNO Mavericks and Central Oklahoma Broncos. The Mavericks #1 in the nation, the Broncos ranked 3rd. Clock stopped with 38 seconds to go in this period, and they'll set it up again.
Well, like I said a little bit earlier, these guys have met 3 times before, all 3 of those going into overtime. It wouldn't surprise me to see another one. Why break tradition? They might as well go into overtime. Nice shot attempt by Braumon Creighton. Goodson has been doing a real nice job of fighting off Braumon's leg attacks.
Working there.
Well, you figure they've wrestled each other 3 times. There's nothing like familiarity with your opponent.
Work out of that.
And there's another lockup.
It's not like, in wrestling, in football you can pull a trick play that the team might not be expecting, run a reverse, bummerooski, whatever you want to call it. But in wrestling, there's not a whole lot of that. You're not going to pull something out, something out of your hat that's going to surprise the guys too often. So.
Well, we're at the end of the period with Goodson leading Creighton 1-0. And as RJ said, that Creighton has chosen to be down now to start this third and final period.
He's got to get an escape just to tie the match up. Again, this is going to be another one of those matches like it was at 118. I'm going to go out on a limb here and bet that the last takedown is going to win this match.
Okay.
Yep.
Here we go. Central Oklahoma leading 7-0, and we got a 1-point escape. We're even at 1.
He wasted no time. You saw he just did a good basic stand-up. The one thing that you'll notice about college wrestling, the higher level of wrestling you get, the more basic things get. You're not going to see a lot of, fancy trick moves. Nice double leg takedown.
That's a 2-point takedown. And quickly, Goodson, upset with himself, gets off the mat, but Creighton now with a 3-1 lead here at 134 pounds, and if he can build a little bit of ride time, he can add at least 1 more point. Quick move.
He needs 13. He needs to ride him for 13 seconds here in order to build up over a minute of riding time. Oh, a quick switch by Goodson, but Braumon able to follow him and hang on. He's going to get his riding time. He's going to get the minute of riding time. That might not know. He's got things tied up. We're going to get a stalemate here. He does have 1 minute of riding time built up now.
Boy, the fans here like that.
That basically makes the score 4-1. But he still needs to. Braumon Creighton can't relax now. He's got to keep his intensity level up and stay on the attack.
Just like that.
The best thing for him to do would be to ride out Matt Goodson at this position. Oh, we've
got a coach coming onto the mat.
We've got coach. That's assistant coach for Central Oklahoma, Jerry Best. He just came right out on the mat.
Well, Goodson's down. I don't know what originally. I guess they were talking about.
Let's see if we can listen in here.
No problem, no problem. I didn't see it from there. I was looking at him riding that ankle.
He must have hit his head or something. Or
Braumon was on the ankle for about 10 seconds. That's why I called him. I was looking at the ankle rather than him being unconscious. I was watching his ankle.
Now that's Phil Pasali talking to assistant Maverick coach Ron Higdon.
Apparently, what Phil said there was that Matt Goodson was unconscious for a second there. He must have came down hard on his head. I don't know.
Yeah,
we can get another look at it, but I didn't see anything happen there. And Phil said, referee Phil Pasali said he was watching Braumon riding the ankle, so wasn't paying attention to the fact that Goodson was hurt. And that's why assistant coach Jerry Best from Central Oklahoma ran out onto the mat. You don't see that very often during the middle of a match. Apparently, he felt the referee didn't see what was going on. He wanted to get out there and stop. You know, not only
he's used about
so there was
45.
no scoring to be done, but just for the protection of his athlete.
There you hear Phil Pasali
45 right now.
letting the coach know how much injury time Goodson's used up. Both trainers are out there. Tom Freddy from UNO working right. He's down right on the mat with Goodson. You're right, from this angle, RJ, I saw him go down, but almost immediately
1 minute.
Coach Best came out and he was like, hey, what's going on here?
If Goodson's used 1 minute of his injury time
coming out, I didn't see it.
At this point. Phil Pasali actually thanking assistant coach Jerry Best for coming out. Jerry Best was no slouch himself. He was a 3-time national champ for the Broncos from 92 through 96. In high school, 4-time state champ, 127-0.
That's it, guys.
We're out of injury time now. If he can't continue at this point immediately, we're going to have a forfeit by Matt Goodson. He's sitting up. Let's see what he's going to do.
A lot of times, though, as you well know, and you've been in this position, you force yourself to continue.
That's it. He's got to go right now. Got to go right now.
You hear Phil Pasali mention.
You can't call timeout again.
He's out of injury time. He can't even call timeout again. If he does, the match is over, and we have a forfeit, which would be a huge swing in favor of the Mavericks. That's just like a pin.
There you see Goodson trying to get that escape. Creighton won't let him go.
Creighton, right before the injury timeout, was warned for stalling. So he's got to stay on the attack too. He just can't ride Goodson. Goodson, for being unconscious, had a lot of activity right there at right back in the action. Braumon Creighton, a minute 22 of riding time, a minute left to go, a minute 4 left to go here in the third period. He leads 3-1 in score. There's a caution, and there's 1 point.
That's the third one, so that does give Goodson a second point.
That could be a critical mistake by Braumon Creighton. Critical mistake.
Yeah.
Looks like, glancing over at the UNO sideline, they're telling him they want Braumon Creighton to cut Goodson loose and go on his feet. Yep. Braumon, I think, wants to try and ride him out.
A lot of action here at 134 pounds.
We're down to less than a minute now. Braumon Creighton got the legs in. No points. They go out of bounds. We're going to get a fresh start back at the middle. That's what Goodson, I'm sure, wanted in order to get those legs out.
Red, you've been warned for stalling on there. Yeah, you've been warned for stalling.
Phil Pasali letting Creighton know about that stalling.
All right, here we go.
I don't think hardly anybody knew that he warned him, because it happened right during that injury time is when he warned him. Braumon Creighton, you saw, started using what they call the international or freestyle start, where you don't have to actually get down on your opponent. You can just start with your hands in the middle of his back. Usually you'll see a wrestler use that when he's going to cut a guy loose, but Braumon elected to pounce back down onto Goodson.
Optional start, bottom. Here we go.
You see that if he's going to use that start, he has to let the referee know. There he cut him loose. Now the score shows 3-3, but Braumon Creighton has 1 point of riding time. Low single attempt by Goodson.
But boy, Creighton's really got to be careful at this point.
Mainly just because of that stall warning.
Right.
He cannot give up another stalling call. That would tie the match up with the riding time, and we'll have overtime.
Which is nothing new, as you mentioned, for these guys.
Go get her.
Coming down to 15 seconds in this match. Oops, they almost got Phil Pasali on his back. Now they're both out of bounds. We've got 11 seconds to go.
Red, you must work.
We're tied at 3, but with the ride time, Braumon Creighton leads it 4-3. 5 seconds
There's
to
a
go.
warning against Braumon Creighton. Stalling call. 1 point for Goodson. We're going to overtime.
Holy cow.
Red, it's tied. You were hit for stalling. Let's go. He's back clear out of there.
Boy, Pasali explaining to the Maverick coaching staff why he called it.
But, you know, I don't see a whole lot of argument from the UNO sideline, so they agreed with the call.
Boy, Goodson has come back. I mean, this is just incredible. This is what it's all about.
Well, the thing about it is, although Goodson was behind, Braumon Creighton has given him 2 of his 4 points with penalty calls.
That's right. So what do you think's going through Creighton's head right now, RJ?
Well, I hope that going through his head that I need to score some points.
I mean, obviously, in this situation, you can't let those 2 penalty points
and again,
affect you mentally.
At the same time, he can't stall.
That's right.
You know, we saw earlier that those stall warnings and penalties do carry over into the overtime. Goodson, on the other hand, hasn't been warned. What he wants to do is just keep pressing the action and possibly get a stalling call. Oh, nice double attempt by Braumon Creighton.
There it is.
Quick takedown.
There it is. Braumon Creighton in overtime beats Matt Goodson. These guys don't know anything but overtime. 6-4 is the final score of the match.
Guys.
But the Mavericks finally get on the team scoreboard. There you see Mike Denny congratulate Creighton, man.
Like I said, Braumon Creighton is an explosive wrestler. When he wants to turn it on, he can score a lot of points. He can't be giving up those penalty points and let guys take him into overtime. He let that guy take him into overtime.
Guys, we're going.
That cuts the team score to 7-3, and already